Hello friends, welcome back to the next session on Service Operations Management. Now let's begin with our learning. In this particular session, we'll be understanding and dealing with the concept of cross-category learnings, the learning objectives. At the end of this particular session, the learners will be able to understand what do we mean by or how do we define the cross-category learnings, what are the various activities that have been undertaken in cross-category learnings, and what is the importance of cross-category learnings in a business organization. Now let us understand and begin our learning with understanding the cross-category learnings. So in a certain business organization, we always try to identify and see that a particular specialized activity is always being undertaken. A person who is a marketing expert continues his activity in terms of marketing. A particular person who is good in mathematics, or who is good in analytics, who is good in Excel, is always undertaking the activities of the finance department. A particular person who is good in law or who is good in litigation matters and so on always deals with the legal department or the HR department. A particular person who is good in handling the certain product or in strategic development is the participants of the strategy department or the production department. And hence, everyone is having a certain part of category and he's a major component as a part of a specialized or an experts. So when we have the various heterogeneous products or people together, we always have a dynamic environment in the business. So when all the dynamic environment of the business are being undertaken together under one roof, we come to a consideration as to the concept of cross-category learnings. So the cross-category analysis or learning is a combination of competition, dynamics, brand, rating, learnings, people, and association of all the components or the factors together, wherein we always try to understand and see that how one factor gets impacted on another and how another factor gets benefited or impacted on some another consideration. Now let us understand what do we mean by the cross-category marketing. So cross-merchandising or cross-category marketing is the retail practice of marketing or displaying the products from different categories together, so that the additional revenue from the stores may sometimes be created and accordingly the incremental purchase or the secondary purchase is being created. Now let's take an example to understand what do we mean by the cross-category learning or cross-category marketing. Whenever we enter a particular store, what happens? We observe a certain food or commodity articles which are being displayed at the initial level. Whereas at the exit from that particular store also, same products or same category of people products have been displayed by those particular people. Now here in this case, a particular customer who has purchased the product at the initial stage, that at the first stage, will not purchase the product at the second stage, that is at the exit. But if by a certain consideration or by a certain movement of the goods and services, if the customer has not purchased those goods and services at the initial or at the first level, at the second level, that is at the exit point of a certain store, he will definitely purchase those particular goods and services. So that's the concept of cross-category marketing. So displaying our product in a certain condition that either at the first level or at the second or the third level, the customer will definitely purchase your product and will not skip the purchases of a certain product. So creating an additional space for your product and getting the additional revenues for the product is also called as the concept of category marketing, wherein the cross strategies have been adopted and accordingly the incremental purchases are being undertaken in the business environment. Now let us understand what are the various steps of the process improvement that has been undertaken in terms of the cross-category learning. So in terms of the cross-category learning, we have there is an example of Amazon which is available at this particular stage. So in case of an Amazon, there are various three departments which are been into existence. That is the shared service content, the training account department, and the production account department. And here we see that, or we can observe that every account or every department is being interconnected with each other. The first activity is AWS code commit. So accordingly, a certain code is being generated, a particular order is being created, and accordingly, the order is that is a code commit is being created in the software or on the cloud platform of Amazon. When this particular cloud platform has been created, then accordingly, the information is being provided to the AWS code pipeline. So accordingly, the information is being generated, is being created, and those particular information is being shared with the key bucket. So the key bucket identifies and designs as to which product or which activity is needed to be transferred at which level. And accordingly, the next perspective or the performance that is being undertaken is the processing of information towards the functional workflow. So the processing of the functional workflow identifies a certain activity, and when this particular activity gets identified, it is the data is processing or the delivery or processing is being started, the product or the commodity is being collected, the data processing is being undertaken, and it is an end of a certain process. Now when this particular process has been completed, then again the product moves to the code or a certain pipeline, and again a transportation or the supply chain activity is being undertaken in this particular consideration. So on the basis of data that is being provided by the cloud formation, one can come to a conclusion as to what is the actual product is, how the product needs to be delivered, what are the various packaging aesthetics and the components that have been required, and so on. So accordingly, after consideration of all those factors, the AWS step functions workflow is being undertaken, and then again the product moves towards the code pipeline. After the code pipeline has been observed, the product is being moved towards the approver, that is a certain management expert who tries to identify and verifies about whether the activities that have been completed are being fulfilled in a proper, concise way and not. Now, based on the certain approvals, the production account department goes to a certain consideration as to identify and fulfill the Lambda function. The Lambda function always focuses on the quality, aesthetics, packaging, consideration, price, amount, and those particular consideration of a certain product. So based on the Lambda function, again the Amazon SageMaker endpoint is into existence, and accordingly the product is reaching to a certain consideration wherein the process improvement as to the brand enhancement or the cross-learning activities are being undertaken in a business organization. Now let us understand what are the various brand enhancement opportunities along with the cross promotion or the cross category learnings. So cross promotion is a series of activities which have been aiming at promoting the product in the minds of consumers. So when various competitors products have been available into the market, we simultaneously have to see that there are various cross category learnings or cross promotion strategies that have been used wherein the customer only remembers our product and there is not skipping with the purchase of our product which is available in the market. So comparing of the product and the competitor's product is easily possible to a certain customer, and accordingly he comes to an understanding of decision making about purchasing the product of our specific domestic company only. The various aids for the promotion of the product and services are essentially required, and based on those considerations, the generation of leads, increase of sales, and establishment of brand recognition needs to be undertaken, which will always try to identify and see that how do we create a value for a certain product, and in the short run as well as in the long run, the value of our product increases in the greater time duration. The next perspective that one has to understand is providing the 5 examples of the cross promotion for the local companies. So accordingly, various promotion examples as to how to increase the brand opportunity, how to increase the market consideration in the long run as well as the short run is essentially required. Now let us understand what are the various key opportunities to improve and enhance the brand. So the various opportunities to improve the enhance the brand is knowing thyself and aligning the activities, creating the high profile events, using the great photos, that is images and charts, diagrams and so on. Be true to yourself, that is only providing the genuine information and correct information. Become the media, that is we should be the own promoter of our product. Improving the culture of the organization, that is internal and external to the environment, and defining the niche is the consideration of the brand enhancement. Now let us understand what are the various factors or functions that have been undertaken in terms of strategies or the steps that have been adopted. So this particular diagram shows you about the action that have been initiated in a certain organization, that is AWS, in which how each and every activity is been conducted and correlated with each other. At the customer level, we have various factories or plants, we have various departments, and we have various partners, that is the third parties. And the activities in the outwardly or the backend department of a certain consideration is always coordinated and associated with respect to the event bus that is being created, the life cycle events, the command query, the query provider, that is the Lambda, the action that needs to be initiated, the data lakes, the query engine, the cross-functional dashboards, and the Amazon services software network. So on those particular consideration, the cross-category learnings can be undertaken and the organization long-term process or business activities can be undertaken. Now this particular diagram shows you about what is the structure of the crowd e-space learning. So on the basis of crowd e-space learning, we can train the external environment, we can train the internal environment, we can train the egoistic environment, we can train the real environment, and lastly, we can also train the motion as well as the density of the certain population. And all these factors can be focused with the help of environment layout, the motion strategy that has been moving, and the aggregate dynamics which are into existence. So training the supervisory factors with respect to 1, 1, 2, and y raised to n, that is the function that can be performed in a business organization. So these are the various factors on which basis we need to understand why and how the cross-category learnings is essentially important. Now let us understand what are the various tips that can help to increase the brand value or the cross-category learnings in a certain organization. So in an organization, to be very effective, various strategies that can be implemented or the steps that can be taken in the short run as well as in the long run helps to identify as to how those particular categories can be implemented in the business concern, and it will help to create the organization in the long run. So these are the various tools as to knowing thyself, creating the values, be true to yourself, and so on. So here we can conclude and we can understand that building an effective brand reputation is essentially required, and only on those particular basis a true and genuine image of a business organization can be created. There should always be a scope for creating the brand value or image in the organization and in the market consideration, which would always try to improve about the sales, revenue, and the market percentage in the environment. The cross-category learnings is essentially important in order to identify that how the organization can be considered as an holistic approach, and the various approaches with respect to the employees, people, the stakeholders in the organization can come, and accordingly they can have a relaxation environment in the business consideration. Now let's summarize what we have learned in this particular session. In this particular session, we have understood what do we mean by the cross-category learnings, what are the various problems and issues that have been associated with the cross-category learnings, and how do we implement the cross-category learnings in the business environment. I hope you must have enjoyed the learning in this particular session. We'll stay connected and we'll continue with our learning. Thank you for your patience listening. Thank you.